Welcome to a demonstration of how to interpret peaks in IR and Raman spectra using the KNOWITALL informatics system. One of the most useful features of the AnalyzeIt applications is the ability to select a peak in a spectrum and find out which functional groups could have a peak in the same region. The AnalyzeIt applications not only show you possible functional groups for a selected peak, they also display any additional bands that would be expected for each group. We begin by opening a spectrum in the AnalyzeIt application. There are three ways to select a peak to correlate. You can allow the application to suggest a peak, select a peak by clicking on the spectrum, or manually type in a peak position. In general, it is best to begin a correlation with a peak above 1500 wave numbers that is unique and strong. The AnalyzeIt application uses a set of rules to select a good starting point, and users who are not experts in spectroscopy may prefer this approach. Choose Suggest a Peak to Correlate on the Analyze menu, or click the Suggest a Peak toolbar button. The application selects the peak it determines to be the best place to start a correlation. Click the Suggest a Peak button repeatedly to cycle through other possibilities. To correlate the suggested peak, click the Correlate toolbar button. The application analyzes the knowledge base for correlations and displays the results in a tab marked with the peak's wave number value. The results are listed in the functional group data pane in alphabetical order by chemical class. As each entry is selected, the corresponding fragment structure and predicted peaks are displayed. Peaks can also be selected by clicking in the spectrum pane. Click anywhere on the spectrum, and the cursor line will move to the nearest peak. Note that the cursor's position on the x-axis is displayed next to the cursor. This display sometimes remains when the cursor is moved outside the spectral pane and may not match the position currently being processed. The peak selection line marks the nearest peak. If desired, the peak selection line can be moved anywhere in the spectrum, even areas where no peak is present. Move the cursor over the peak selection line until the cursor changes shape. Then click and drag the line to a new location. The new position can then be correlated. The third way to correlate a peak is to type in a peak position. Open the Analyze menu, then choose Correlate Individual Peak. The Correlate Individual Peak dialog box opens. The current position is displayed. Type in a new wave number value, then click OK. The application analyzes the knowledge base for correlations and displays the results in a tab marked with the peak's wave number value. Once again, the results are listed in the functional group data pane in alphabetical order by chemical class, and scrolling through the results displays the corresponding fragment structure and predicted peaks for each entry. This concludes our demonstration of how to interpret peaks in IR and Raman spectra using the KNOWITALL informatics system.